Good morning, everyone. It is Mo, and I am back with Fry doing, well, goodness knows what Fry is doing actually at this moment. But thank you for all the well wishes. It is Friday morning. We have successfully navigated through another week. It is the 15th. That means for all of us Christmas slackers, we have 10 days to get things somewhat organized and only 9 more days with the elves on the shelf, the Santanarchs, if you will. So, you know, give thanks that we only have. I don't want to loop, but let's see how boned we are according to
Let's
Nostradamus.
not all panic at once.
All right, let's see, because according here are the prophecies for this next year. I am always as hoping meteor of sweet reliefs, but let's keep our minds and our hearts open for what Nostradamus and apparently Baba Vanga, who I've never heard of, have decided to, foretell for us. Good morning, fast group. So we have Nostradamus. Was a 16th century astrologer, plague doctor, accused heretic, and bearded seer. We all kinda know who Nostradamus is. Again, if you happen to stumble upon the History Channel, A&E, late at night, once they've run out of World War II things or how maybe, a certain Austrian painter smuggled his genetic material and himself to, Argentina after 1940 and all those conspiracies and ancient aliens, they will go right on to Nostradamus. So, good morning, Kim. Yes, I know everyone is waiting for the Cray Cray trial, so I am totally okay with being on the rewatch crew. It is a Friday. I have put all the craziness. So he did, publish all of his prophecies, and then apparently Baba Yaga or Baba Vanga died in 1996, and she was a blind, I guess, seer who had prophecies all the way to year 5079, so at least we've got that to look forward to. So, there we go. So let's see, but, take it with a grain of salt because, apparently some of their stuff has been wrong. I know, shocketh you may be. But apparently, according to Baba Vanga, we are going to have a technological revolution in 2024 with AI continuing its march towards Skynet. Uh, and the rise of quantum computing that will lead to a major upheaval in the sectors of finance, healthcare, and cybersecurity. Good morning, alternate juror and Peace Peony. Yeah, I well, look, there we go. This is how Skynet happens, y'all. And if any of this leads to the Matrix revolutions, I'm out, y'all. I'm out. I will become a neo Luddite. We will start, breaking down monitors and those Wi-Fi units. We will go full neo Luddite. AI rising and cyber, bad stuff striking are supported by Pluto. Apparently, Pluto rising is going to give something or other with Capricorn and Aquarius. All the Aquarians are going to run insanity around the world, according to this blind seer. So, there you go. This is what happens when you let AI run stuff. And apparently, Pluto is pissed off that we demoted him from being an actual planet, allegedly. If I am reading this with a grain of salt and snark, what can you do? Oh, well, there you go. Maybe Joe will cure cancer. But it isn't all bad. Venga predicted that we will, in fact, have cures for certain cancers as well as Alzheimer's. So, your AI may take over, but at least you'll remember it and you'll be cancer free. So you'll live longer to serve the machine. This can't be getting any better. Oh, F off. F off right now. Harry becoming the king. I will, Nostradamus, get back here. Come up to the front of the class. You understand that insufferable hag becomes the queen if he gets ascendant. I will vote to, you know, reconquer Britain if we need to, if this is the case. I think all commonwealths will. Allegedly. Along the passages of Nostradamus, the prophecies, and I'm not going to say it in French because look, y'all know French, but he states that a king of the Isles will be driven out by force. Readers speculate that Nostradamus is referring to the role and reign of King Charles III. Another passage, also allegedly referencing King Chuck, warns soon afterwards a disastrous war, a new king shall be anointed, who for a long time will appease the earth. Um, no. The answer is no. Now, people allege that he accurately predicted the death of Queen Elizabeth and hints that Charles will be succeeded by the one who will have no mark of king. Now, listen, y'all. This better be some flipper kid they have, hidden in the background, meeting le meaning leading many to speculate that Prince Harry will rise to the throne. Y'all, I will run away I will run away and join the circus if that miserable hag becomes the queen. I think all of Europe will vote to join America. Well, yeah, I mean, Sal, it's kinda like shooting fish in a barrel. I'm just telling you what an old French guy said who was almost, killed by the Inquisition. I mean, I don't know. Har bears North Node, a karmic point of destiny. Look, I don't know. These people are nuts. Uh, is in the early degrees of Gemini and Jupiter, a planet of luck and expansion set to move into the sign of the twins. Look, if this redhead weirdo gets into the kingship, apparently the climate is gonna go insane. But we're apparently not all doomed because some of their predictions have not come into pass. So, maybe we'll get King Henry, maybe we'll get, King Queen Mo. I'm just saying, take the monarchy down, install me as empress of the world, see what happens. Can't be worse, right? There's a there's a prediction no one saw. And other things that no one saw coming until the FBI came around. Ex Facebook diversity manager pleads guilty to bilking 4 million, and that's million with an M, from company in a kickback scheme. Your shock? I know. My shock? I know. A former Facebook diversity program manager pled guilty to scamming the social media giant out of more than $4 million through a scheme in which he faked business deals in exchange for kickbacks. Not a diversity leader, using victim mentality to extort money from woke companies? This is ridiculous. I'm going to the federal agencies. This cannot be allowed to happen. Barbara Furrow Smiles, who served as lead strategist and global head of employee resource groups and diversity engagement at Facebook, used stolen funds to live an extravagant lifestyle that spanned from California to Georgia, prosecutors said. I can't imagine. This is shocking. From approximately January 2017 to September 2021, Furrow Smiled led diversity, equity, and inclusion programs at Facebook and was responsible for developing executive DEI initiatives, operation, and engagement programs. She was the hall monitor for what you can and cannot say without people going to a cry corner, according to the DOJ. Feds said Furlough Smiles, who had access to company credit cards and the ability to improve invoices as part of her role in the company. That's where you went wrong. Hello, Charlotte. Usually you would have checks and balances, and she wouldn't be in charge of writing her own bank statements, but, I mean, she's the head of home monitoring and making sure you say the nice things. Those individuals would later funnel kickbacks to furlough Smiles. My shock, you can't imagine. Those allegedly recruited to participate in the kickback scheme included some of Furlough Smiles' former interns, her university tutor, a hairstylist. Friberto, are you supposed to have a. Yes, I know you go into full on. I is a good boy, but you is not a good boy. You're not supposed to be eating hangers. You're like, but I is good. I promise. So, yeah, apparently, as you do when you're at Facebook, you hire your university tutor, your hairstylist, babysitters, and nannies. It's unclear if any of Furlough Smiles' associates are being charged in connection with the case. The Post has reached out to the DOJ for further comment. She also misled Facebook. Well, I mean, to be fair to Mark, he doesn't understand how us humans always act. Into sending money to entities that did not provide kickbacks, including nearly what $10,000 to an artist who created specialty portraits and more than $18,000 to an unnamed preschool. I mean, yeah. Look, hair is a very sensitive thing for us ladies. If you've got a good hairstylist, you stay with them until the end of times. Look, there are 3 relationships in which you trust: Jesus, your significant other, and your hairdresser if you find a good one, all and your kids. But, you to avoid scrutiny, Furlough Smiles would submit fake expense reports claiming that the individuals were vendors at Facebook events who helped with marketing or provided merchandise. She, quote, abused position of trust as global diversity executive for Facebook to defraud the company of millions of dollars, ignoring the insidious consequences of undermining the importance of her DEI mission. Can we just go ahead and all agree that DEI missions are. I do not. I am American, but I don't know what that is. She was, quote, motivated by greed and used her time to orchestrate an elaborate criminal scheme in which fraudulent vendors paid her kickbacks in cash. She even involved relatives, friends, and other associates in her crime to fund lavish lifestyles through fraud rather than hard work. Again, I don't see BLM, I don't see those people getting, you know, Mansions Lives Matter. I don't see those guys getting charged with fraud yet. So I say, ma'am, you were just doing what you had seen on the news. I say you had a terrible example to follow with BLM, and you just didn't know what you were doing was wrong. The DOJ noted that Meta, quote, provided valuable assistance and cooperation during the investigation. Well, aren't you now? Isn't Meta kind of just the long arm of the federal government now? It's just kind of their social media wing anymore. I mean, after the Facebook files came out and how readily certain social medias seem to, work with El Governmento, it doesn't seem like there's a difference between one and the other, but that's allegedly. Oh, wow. I mean, she does have a wonderful fashion sense. I will give her that. I would never assault an emu for its feathers, but or maybe that's raccoon. Look, I don't know fashion, y'all. I'm wearing a big old men's thermal shirt right now. So it is what it is. Annie Hoozle, apparently she's going to be put on, you know, She's charged by the feds, and they typically do not lose. So I'm guessing probably probation. I'm guessing probation, and she's going to have to pay back $5 of what she stole. Maybe make a tearful apology or something. I don't know. Uh, how this entire situation happened is beyond me, but two people were arrested after 7 Virginia students ate fentanyl-contaminated gummy bears. The actual Schnell is happening here, people. Authorities in Virginia have arrested 2 adults after 7 elementary students were exposed to fentanyl by gummy bears that one of the 4th graders had bought to school in a sandwich bag that contained residue of the potent narcotic. Good. Thank you so much, Charlotte. And let me put you up on the murder board, which I have to actually work on a little bit this weekend. But I've got you. Let me thank you so much. Now, I'm guessing the parents had these baggies out because they were doing all sorts of the shenanigans around their kids. And, this poor little kid who didn't know any better took one of the bags that was, all of the contaminated and put his, little gummy bears in. Good morning, Wolfram. It is Friday. So, unfortunately, these little kids, you know, he brings in candy and he wants to share with his friends because he's being a good friend. And then these kids have terrible reactions to these gummy bears. On Wednesday, the Amherst Sheriff's Office, in a statement, said that Clifford Duggan and Nicole Sanders were arrested in connection to the incident. Both have been charged with contributing to the delinquency or abuse of a child, while Duggan has been charged with being a convicted felon in possession of a firearm, and Sanders has been charged with possession of a Schedule 1 or 2 narcotic. Officials told reporters Wednesday during a press conference that they could not announce the relationship between the two suspects and the student who brought the bag of gummies to school, only that the pair were arrested due to a search warrant issued in their investigation. And I feel so bad for this little boy because I'm sure or little child, I don't know if it's a little boy or girl, but could you imagine how terrible you would feel if, you're a little kid and maybe your parents aren't the greatest, but you have some candy and you wanna take it into your friends, so you put it in a little lock bag and you take it to your friends. You're like, "Hey, I've got candy," maybe he doesn't al they don't always have candy to share, and you're sharing candy and all of a sudden, your friends start getting really sick, you start getting really sick, and, it just I can't imagine how this little kid feels. He probably has not had a very easy life if these 2 are allegedly anyone around them relative-wise. Among the 7 students, 5 demonstrated symptoms of nausea, vomiting, headaches, muscle spasms, Wells said, adding the first student to start exhibiting such symptoms was about at 1:20 p.m. He said the gummy bears tested negative for foreign substances, but the residue in the bag was confirmed to be fentanyl, indicating that it had contained the synthetic opioid at one point. And how lucky that these kids did not pass away because, I mean, we have seen officers die just touching, you know, small amounts of fentanyl. We have seen, kids, babies, the daycare center in New York. So, as sick as these kids got, I am so glad that no one got sicker or unalived. But these 2, Snake Island. And why must you always do the Kubrick look? Seriously, if you want to maybe appear not guilty later on, doing this look where you have a smile and you're looking up at the camera like this, it's not a good look for innocence. I'm just gonna go tell you. Now, in a story to negate the hope that we might have that all, prophecies of, Baba, blind lady go up to, like, 5,074, Doritos has rolled out a nacho flavored liquor. I do believe that this was foretold in Revelations because what the actual end times am I looking at, and what is this? Why? Just why? Doritos rolls out a $65 bottle of nacho cheese flavored liquor that, quote, "tastes like the real thing." You guys, I'm not saying that, you know, this was foretold and this is one of the 7 seals that has to get undone in order for the end times to happen, but this cannot be good. This cannot be good. This cannot be a good sign. Doritos is betting its nacho cheese flavored liquor is all that in a bag of chips for $65 a bottle. The PepsiCo owned snack food has partnered with drink company Empirical to produce a quote savory nacho cheese imbued beverage experience that smells and tastes just like the real thing, according to a press release issued Tuesday. Um, Look, y'all, we all knew that Demi Moore was pregnant and got completely naked for the Seven Seals. I'm just saying, do we really want to put that movie and her sacrifice in vain with this crap? Dubbed the nacho cheese spirit, it's also made with malted barley and Belgian Sassion yeast, which is known for its peppery, spicy flavor. Well, that was a whole, Hunger Games, the capital. Where is, oh, Effie Trinket, and when do we start the Hunger Games? May the odds be ever in your favor, kind of thing. Well, this liquor is 42% alcohol by volume, which means you can't even use it as hand sanitizer. Uh, and will bring a moment of "What the F" to anyone that tries it, Empirical touted. Well, I'm not gonna spend $65 for WTF. The limited edition, bottle went on sale Wednesday on its website with delivery dates scheduled for January 2024. There you go. I don't know why one would do that. Selected New York and California markets are also expected to carry the liquor, so if you're in New York and you have $65 you'd like to spend on booze that tastes like Doritos, I guess you go. Good morning, Jude. Yes, so I'm not gonna be buying this. I don't know that anyone. There is also apparently a Curly Fry vodka, a Arby's Crinkle Fry vodka. This is what is wrong with people? Look, booze? No, I don't this no, just stop. And also, what in the actual end times am I looking at? Apparently, I love it when stories come together and I don't really have a theme for them, but, as I'm going through, I realize I've unintentionally got a theme. 2 men were indicted for selling eagles in a, quote, "killing spree of 3,600 birds." What the crap? Like, y'all need a hobby. Have you ever heard of Fortnite? I have heard so much about Fortnite from my boys. Apparently, it's awesome. Have you heard of Roblox? Because or Sims, holy crap. Because what the hell are y'all doing killing a bunch of golden eagles and bald eagles? Like Cletus and Jim Bob, what the hell? 2 men allegedly killed approximately 3,600 birds, including bald eagles, golden eagles, and face years in prison and fines up to $250,000 after being indicted by a federal grand jury in Montana. Simon Paul and John Branson are accused of poaching bald eagles and golden eagles on the Indian Reservation and elsewhere from January 2015 to March 2021 and illegally selling them on a black market. Why? And who wants a black eagle on the black market? I'm going to need, or a bald eagle on the black market. I'm going to need all of this information because I am all the confused. And the fact that this is a federal case means that we cannot watch video. It is not streamed because I want to be able to understand what the hell was going on in their mind. I need to know what kind of, street pharmaceuticals were being used because this is not a sober thought process. I hope. Because if this was a sober thought process, we have a lot more to discuss. Quote, during the investigation, law enforcement uncovered messages from Branson and others describing the illegal taking of eagles by stating, quote, out here committing felonies. Okay, y'all, we have talked about this. If you are going to be out here committing felonies, we don't text our felonies. We also don't, Facebook. And telling buyers he was, quote, on a killing spree to obtain eagle tail feathers for future sales, the indictment states. What is the actual am I looking at? They were indicted on one count of conspiracy, 13 counts of unlawful trafficking of bald and golden eagles. Penalty for the first offense is 1 year in prison and a $5,000 fine. The second and subsequent conviction is 2 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. And one count of violating the Lacey Act involving wildlife with market value in excess of $350. The penalty is 5 years in prison and a $20,000 fine. The Lacey Act combats trafficking of illegally taken wildlife, fish, or plants. The indictment details the sale of 13 bald eagle, gold eagle parts, or entire birds with the date each were poached. Of course, they probably had little post-it notes. These people probably Facebook their entire crimes, which is good because why the hell are you killing bald eagles? Make it make sense. And I'm sure there is a thriving black market for bald eagle feathers to do some kind of sage smudging thing, or I'm sure to make, I don't know, bows and arrows or some ridiculous crap. I'm sure instead of just letting the eagles keep their feathers because they use them to fly, for the love of all that is holy. From January 2019 to March 2021, Simon Paul, this can lived near Ronan on Flathead Indian Reservation, and he was, quote, a shooter and shipper of bald and golden eagles for Travis John Branson, the indictment read. When Branson arrived on Flathead Eagle Reservation, Paul would meet and help unalive, transport, and ship bald and golden eagles for future sales on the black market. I am Get to the part where what are you doing on the black that's it. We are looking things up right now. What? We are looking up why yeah, why buy black eagles on the or bald eagles on the black market? I don't understand. For body parts. Okay. No, I don't want to sign in, you dingongs. I don't wanna actually buy National Geographic. Oh, body parts are used for a lot of different things. That's terrifying. Yeah, Sonny, I think they're gonna lie about what they're in for, because what are you in here for? Try to rob a bank? This guy over here, you know, my old lady and me got into it. What are you here for? I genocided a bunch of birds. What kind of birds? Bald eagles. Uh, what in the actual hell? I need Alright. So he previously killed deer to lure in the eagles, and then he would shoot them when they came to scavenge. Just all of the craziness. In other news, you know what? I like this bull's moxie. Bull that escaped the slaughterhouse taken to animal sanctuary after causing rush hour chaos on the Newark Penn Station tracks. A Texas Longhorn was spotted running across New Jersey Transit tracks in Newark Thursday morning, causing delays of up to 45 minutes for commuters heading into the Big Apple. Reports of the rodeo star running loose in Newark Penn Station emerged around 10:30, and he remained on the tracks for about an hour before he was captured and taken to an animal sanctuary. Look, this bull was like, "Oh hell no." I done seen where we passed a Burger King. I smelled grandpa. It's like, I knew Joe hadn't gone to the farm up at north. It was him. He was a double whopper. Officials said New Jersey Transit alerted commuters to the bizarre incident on X, writing, quote, "Rail service is subject to up to 45-minute delays between Newark Penn and PSNY due to police activity near Newark Penn Station." Humorously addressing the delay, New Jersey Transit wrote, quote, "Police activity" above a photo of the out of place bull seemingly staring straight at the camera. He probably was. Chrissy's like, "Don't make me have to run after you. I don't like when I jog." Which, to be fair, as a fellow Fluffy, look, we can all do a little better, sir. Let's make some healthier choices every day. Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm surprised. A station announcer can be heard in one video telling travelers, quote, "Due to an obstruction on the track, all trains are subject to delays," while the baffled bovine ran up and down the tracks along the platform as travelers filmed on their cell phones. The runaway bull escaped from a slaughterhouse in Newark. Oh, he's just Fry is just out. Good morning, making law simple. Yes, so, you know, Steaky McBullface gets to go to a lovely animal rescue now. He was sedated, he was caught, and now he is up in an actual he was taken to Skylands Animal Sanctuary and Rescue in Wanatage, where he is, quote, "safe but heavily sedated." Oh. Highlands founder Mike Satura named the beast Ricardo after one of the Newark police officers on the scene who helped him coordinate to get the steer to the sanctuary, he told the Post. So Ricardo the bull made his way safely to a sanctuary, and he will no longer be a part of your Whopper. Aw, he gets to go to a 232-acre farm home with nearly 450 animals, including cows, bulls, sheep, goats, horses, and chickens in rural Suffolk County, nearly 55 minutes or miles northwest of Newark. They said sanctuary. It seems like they're keeping all the animals and they're not gonna be turned into freezer filling stuff, we hope. Maybe he even gets to make little calves if they haven't made him, a steer. We don't know. They didn't give us that, information. We don't know. In other weird news, a menu signed by Mao Zedong brings in $250,000 at an auction, which is odd because Mao Zedong isn't really known for, bringing food to the masses. But ching. Come on. Those of you who know your history, that's a funny joke. An official menu for a state banquet that bears the signature of the former Chinese leader Mao Zedong has been auctioned off for $270,000. Boston based RR Auctions said the menu auction Wednesday was for a banquet held in Beijing on October 19th, 1956, and commemorated the first state visit to China by Pakistan's Prime Minister uh, Hussein Shahid Shohawardi. Look, I probably just committed a crime in Pakistan by how I said that name. No, he continues to grow. The Men was signed in fountain pen by 6 influential Chinese statesmen, including Mao and Premier something else name-wise. The banquet featured foods from both nations, including delicacies such as consommé of swallow's nest and white agaric. His name was Dave. Dave from China, as he was culturally sensitive even then. Shark's fin in brown sauce and roast Peking duck. To hold a menu signed by Mao Zedong is to hold a piece of the past, a piece that tells a story of diplomatic engagement, cultural exchange, and the forging of friendships that have endured through decades. No, to hold a menu signed by Mao Zedong is to hold a menu of a man who starved, a good chunk of his people by having them, you know, bang on pots and pans to keep birds away, in the Great Leap Forward. But hey, you see history the way you want to see it. I'll see history the way I want to see it. But you obviously have stuff to sell. That's how the vice president of the RR auction house said this. Other items that were auctioned off were a fully operational World War II era Enigma coding machine. Now, I would have bought that for 200 and 260 200,000. Look, a bunch of money, 200K almost. A Thomas Edison signed document for the light bulb patent for 200 no, for 22,000, a check signed by Steve Jobs to Radio Shack that was sold for $46,000. The check dated July 23rd, 1976 is payable to Radio Shack for a whopping $4.01. It was signed by Jobs the same year that he and Steve Wozniak launched Apple in Silicon Valley Garage. So there you go. If you would like to, buy a menu by a guy who starved a bunch of people, you better have some money, which is odd because, In odd news, but for our, more British people, we have James Bulger, killer of John Venables' parole bid fails. So, this was, I do believe, and I wanna be really clear about this, but John or James Bulger was part of a 2 young boys that stole a 2-year-old little boy. It was a big, big case in Britain, and I might be getting my things wrong, but they stole this little boy, they have it on CCTV, and I believe they did some terrible, terrible things to him. So, they have been in Europe, they or in Britain, you technically don't really have full life terms. There is always, you know you can get somewhat sentences you can get parole, basically. To get a full life sentence is fairly odd. I think the only ones that have been handed down were, like, for the West, Rosemary and, well, the dad killed himself, but then you have the Moors murderers, so it is very rare to get a true full life sentence in England. But James Bulger, killer of John Venables, has failed in a bid to be freed from prison after parole officers ruled He remains a danger to children. Venables, who murdered the 2-year-old with Robert Thompson in, I wanna say Bottle, but I know Merseyside in 1993, could go on to offend again, the parole board said. The report said his release at this point would not be safe for the public. Venables was released on license in 2001, but was recalled after indecent images of children were found on his computer. He was returned to prison in February 2010 and released again in August 2013, but called back again in November 2017 for the same offense. So let's be real clear here. This guy seems to have a predilection for young children and has shown himself to not be able to be outside without reoffending or at least getting indecent images on his computers. Parole judges last considered his case in September 2020. Bulger killer parole hearing was held in private. According to a summary of the latest decision, Venerables, quote, accepted that he had long term sexual interest in children and indecent images of children, despite taking part in a, quote, considerable amount of work in prison to address this area of risk. Yeah, no, no. Lock, throw away the key, Snake Island. Look, if he and his friend at 10 years old, or I think they might have been 10, 11 at the oldest, 13, I think. If they could take this young boy and do what they did to him, and I don't remember all of the things that they did, but this little boy was grievously injured. If they could do all that and then he continues to show that he's still got all of these predilections, no, throw away the key, Snake Island. He has a history of taking street pharmaceuticals and secretly trying to use the internet in breach of license conditions. So, license would be like his parole. The panel was, quote, concerned by continuing issues of sexual preoccupation in this case, warning there were future risks of him viewing more abuse material of children and progressing to offensives where he might have contact with children. Because in England, I do believe, had he been put out on license, say he was able to get parole, I do believe he would have been able to petition to get his name changed so that, he would be considered, you know, let's say he was rehabilitated, which he's not, but he could have been given a new identity. It happens in other cases. Um, Another case I'm thinking of is the 2 little girls who went missing, and it turned out it was the school's janitor or grounds person. His girlfriend had a kind of after the fact accessory after the fact. She'd served her sentence, then she got out, and she got a change of name and identity, and now she lives wherever she lives, and I don't think anyone knows any different. I mean, unless you really dug into it and were able to match her pictures. So, this could be increasingly dangerous for the public if Slinky, I'm with you. If, he was able to slide under those sort of get barrier guards and get out into the public. Quote, both of these present risk of causing serious harm to other, the 3-page document added. The parole board said it doubts Venable's ability to be open and honest with professionals and concluded there remained a need for him to, quote, address outstanding levels of risk and develop his relationship with his probation officer. How about just no? How about we just lock him up and throw away the key? I mean, honestly, this guy seems like, he cannot be rehabilitated. There is a long-standing legal order in place to protect the identities of both Venables and Thompson because of their young age when they committed the murder. For this reason, the chairwoman of the Parole Board of England and Wales, Carolyn Cornby, chose not to hold his parole hearing in public and the James family were not allowed to attend. So this is where I get really pissed off with England's parole issues. Basically, they're taking the criminals because they were minors, their rights, and putting it above the victims' rights. So Venables and Thompson, their placements and all of their other things have been guarded by the government. And the parole hearing, the victim's family wasn't even able to go in there and, give testimony. The James family wasn't allowed to attend and say, "Hey, these guys are monsters. Look what they did when they were 10. Look what they did when they were younger." No, it's all whatever. Venables and Thompson, who was 10 at the time, abducted James from a shopping center in February 1993. Together, they led him to a nearby rail line, tortured and unalived him. They were released on license in 2001 after serving 8 years for the unaliving. They were both given new identities. Justice Secretary Alex Chalk said, quote, James Bulger's barbaric murder was a crime that shocked the nation. I welcome the parole board's decision to keep his killer behind bars. Quote, public protection is our number one priority, which is why I oppose John Venable's release, and this government in ref- is reforming the parole system to introduce stronger ministerial check on release of the most dangerous offenders. His previous parole review in 2020 determined that he used Smex and pornography as a means of coping and felt a quote lack of fulfillment in life and had a need for excitement. I give 0 Fs. Let me look. I have no dams given. Sir, you unalived a toddler when you were a kid. I don't care what you need to use for a cope. You need to learn how to be a good person, which you obviously seem to be incapable of. And look, if Europe doesn't want to deal with you, when I become, empress of the world after all predictions come to pass, I am just saying that I will let the parents have you. And I'll be like, "Man, it's been super quiet after, like, an hour and a half, like, I have no." Look, Snake Island. Look, I'm just telling you guys, there's a reason I don't God would never put me in power because these cases, I'd just let the family take care of it, but this is why I'm not a judge, this is why I'm not a lawyer, this is why I'm not a police officer, because, you know, this is not the thing for me. So, anyways, thank goodness that the parole board is actually reforming some things, even if they're keeping them private and away from public. And this guy isn't getting out for now, at least. But he had in 2 years, if he's able to lie convincingly, he might be able to get out and with a new identity that's protected. So, any Joe Schmo on the street wouldn't know this kid was linked to that crime in 1993. I don't agree with that at all. But it's England, it's not my country, not my not my group of flying monkeys, not my problem. But those are the news stories for this Friday. We are going to see, that's, just a little light shock therapy, little heavy shock therapy. I mean, whatever. I'm willing to give it a try. Just look, at a certain point, I don't think child offenders can this is my own personal opinion, take it with, like, 975,000 pounds of salt, but if you have a predilection towards children, at a certain point, I don't know that you can be reformed. Maybe we can make y'all your own little, town out in Wyoming somewhere, but you can't be around kids, you can't be around normal society, I'm sorry, you've lost the right. Just stay there or Snake Island. I mean, you got 2 choices. Have your own colony, Snake Island. That goes for men and women, and there will be no babies made because I've done seen some cases where Men and women with the same gross tendencies wanna get together, try to have children for grossness. No, no. There will be a men's colony and a women's colony, but beyond that, I don't know how to help you, okay? That's about it. It's either that or Snake Island. I feel like that's about all society can do with you, but that's just me, and again, that's why look, there are not easy answers to hard questions, but I am glad that at least the parole board did say, "Hey, you know what? This guy seems to still be a little dangerous, so let's maybe not let him out into the public," which is always good. Yeah, this case, I remember seeing this case, and I love true crime, I love all of it, so I watch so much true crime, it gets a little fuzzy, but reading through it, I remembered the case and the fact that these young men went, they the punishment was very lenient and they continued to screw up. Look, you can't help some people you just can't help. Some people are just gonna choose wrong no matter what you do. But that is what we get for letting people choose their own lives, I guess. It is what it is. Oh, and in other news, apparently New York lost all power, which yikes. Name one time I would never wanna be in New York other than all the other times when they had a power outage. A brief power outage affected countless New Yorkers Thursday night, leaving some trapped in elevators as smoke was seen rising above a Brooklyn power plant. No, no, no. Me stuck in an elevator would be the look, no one wants to see Mo stuck in an elevator. One video on social media showed smoke coming up from Con Edison substation in Vinegar Hill, Brooklyn, where police said they received a 911 call for an explosion. Wolfram. Good morning, Gigi. No, I completely understand. Today, it was super cold outside. It was definitely a day to just stay cozy in bed and not wake up. Fry is still asleep, so uh, Con Ed employees were restoring a transmission line at the Farragut substation on John Street when there was a disruption causing a citywide power surge, the NYPD said. There were no injuries. Yeah, no. Con Ed said it experienced an issue at the substation in the borough, which led to a dip or surge in power witnessed by customers. So there you go. It wasn't, at least it wasn't, someone attacking, which is always good. But yeah, no. I love how half of the pictures are just people just standing around. Poor guys. I would hate to be stuck in a or in a I would hate to be stuck in an elevator. But that's the news, you guys. Apparently, according to Nostradamus and this blind chick, we are probably gonna get climate crisis and, maybe Prince Harry's gonna end up being king. If so, I'm not saying, but I'm saying America. Look, England, America might come over and help you, but we will be obnoxious about it, all right? Look, no one wants to see Meghan Markle become queen except Meghan Markle. All all right. Uh, we might get the cure for cancer and Alzheimer, but AI is gonna take over, so you'll live longer and you'll remember it all as we step closer and closer to the terrible horror that is Matrix Revolution. Ugh. There you go. Well, and if all that fails to keep you in the holiday spirit, well, $65 and you can get liquor that tastes like Doritos. There you go. All hope is not lost. You can still get booze that tastes like chips for reasons. all foretold, I swear to goodness, in Revelation. This has to be part of the 7 seals. I'm just saying Demi Moore wasn't pregnant and nude in that movie for nothing, y'all. We need to make this stop. I'm just saying. Any hoozle, have a great weekend. There's only 10 days till Christmas and 9 more days of the Santa narcs if you're a parent to try to make those elves do something silly before they are put in a box and forgotten about for the next year. Hey, I'm not there. I'm just saying the colonies might help out because don't nobody want that. I will see you all in a little bit. I'm going to help EU with the, Bryce Bryce Rhodes case, and then I will be off doing some errands today because I have got so much to do. It's always fun when stuff knocks you down and you have a whole list of things to do because it's not like I have nothing to do around here. But we can all band together for the peace of the world and make sure. Oh, and 3 days before Peace Peony's birthday, so we have to make sure the world still exists at least for that much longer. Say something kind to yourself and something kind to someone else. You never know when that kind thing you say might be the only kind thing or the only kind act that someone has experienced for their entire day or maybe their whole week. And it is the holidays. And let's be honest, the last couple years have been a bit of a crap show. So try to be nice if you can go out. I know people are weird and we have to be assaulted by Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas, which is an auditory mess. But we can at least try. Have a wonderful rest of your day and a start to your weekend. I will see you in a little bit. Bye, guys.